Will you lead me to paradise?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm going to review Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, The Reunion, Part 1. The episode starts off with Phaedra, Porsha, Angela, Cynthia, and Kelly arriving at the Assembly Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, and we see a montage of them getting their hair and makeup done. After Phaedra finishes getting her makeup done, she goes to check in on Britt, and she notices that Britt's room is completely empty, like there's no staff, no clothes, no makeup, nothing, just empty, and Phaedra is shocked. So she goes to Porsha's dressing room and tells her, and Porsha is shocked as well. After the ladies finish getting their hair and makeup done, they go out to the main stage and sit down in their designated seats. And I do think it is very important to note that Drew was late, which may explain why she was seated at the end. And speaking of the seating, I do want to talk about that really quickly. On the left, we have Porsha and Phaedra, and on the right, we have Shamia, Angela, Kelly, and Drew. And I wasn't really feeling the seating as far as the right side of the couch. I felt like it should have been Angela, Drew, Shamia, then Kelly. But what do you all think? How do you all feel about that? It is at this time that we find out that Britt is not coming to the reunion, and the group is shocked. Kelly calls Britt a victim and a villain mixed together, and I kind of agree with that. Phaedra then chimes in and reminds everyone that they are part of a sisterhood and that everyone should feel comfortable coming around each other, and I agree with that as well. Shamia and Angela tell Andy that they are disappointed because they plan to confront her about some of the things that she said during the season. Drew chimes in and tells us that Britt actually reached out to her recently to tell her that she was filing a lawsuit against her because of what happened at King's Salon. And I was just like, why would she file a lawsuit against Drew? But then I thought about it. I was like, wait, didn't Porsha make a video saying that the current housewife allegedly provided the pictures of Britt to Kenya? So I was just like, wait, so does Britt think that Drew was the one that gave her the photos? Andy decides to pivot and he asks the ladies if any of them would like to set the intentions for the reunion, and Porsha tells them that she would like to set the intentions. Porsha tells Andy and the ladies that she wants to get down to the bottom of everything and that she's okay with moving forward with the ladies, but she's also okay with closing the door on any friendship. And this was clearly aimed at Shamia. And I do want to point out that at this time, Cynthia does make her way to the stage and she does sit next to Phaedra, and the reunion officially begins. Porsha's package is shown, and we see the issues that she had with Drew and the issues that she had with Dennis. And it becomes clear, at least to me, that Dennis was the problem in this entire situation. And we also see clips of Porsha talk about her cousin's death, and she starts to get emotional. Andy notices this, so he decides to pivot and asks her about the house. She tells him that Simon purchased the house prior to them getting married, but the two of them decided to make it a marital home during the prenup negotiations. And it is at this time that we find out that Porsha and Simon, they're not divorced yet, and that Simon was detained due to his immigration status. And we also find out that Gerald actually spilled some tea to Porsha about Simon's money situation, and it's actually prompted Porsha to go extra hard when it came to negotiating the prenup. Andy looks over at Kelly and asks her what were her intentions when she asked Porsha why did she steal that lady's husband, and this causes an argument between Porsha and Kelly. Porsha tries to compare her situation with Simon to Kelly's situation with her husband, and Kelly tells her that she was married for 11 years, you were only married for 11 months, and that comparing the two marriages is like comparing apples to peaches. And I was like, okay, Kelly, score one for you. It looks like the conversation is getting ready to escalate, so Porsha decides to shut it down. And I was just like, Porsha, didn't you just say that you plan to get down to the bottom of everything at the beginning of the episode? What's going on, sis? And while we're talking about Porsha allegedly selling people's husbands, Andy asked Porsha why did she say that she wanted to fuck Charles. Porsha apologizes to Angela before going over the chain of events that led to her saying that. She tells the group that she had a conversation with Angela and that Angela actually apologized to her about what she said about her and Simon. And it's at this time that we find out that Shamia may have been the one who actually introduced Simon to Porsha. And I was just like, Shamia, is this true? And then they show a flashback, and Shamia, she did not say that she introduced Simon to Porsha. She stated that she was there from the beginning of the relationship, which, I mean, I guess you can interpret it as that way, but she did not actually say it. And so Andy asks Porsha, and Porsha, she does pause for a second. And then I was like, Porsha, what's this about? But then she goes on, she says, you know what? No, that's not what happened. We met how we met, and just keep the heat on me. Don't put it on anybody else. And I was just like, okay, Porsha. Andy asks Porsha about her relationship with Dennis, and Kelly jokes that she has Dennis all up in Simon's house. And this results in a small, nice, nasty surface level back and forth, and becomes quite apparent that these two do not fuck with each other. Andy pivots and asks Drew about an interview that she did where she said that Porsha's return was a flop and a tryhard. She tells us that she believes that Porsha's return was a flop because she did not have a storyline. And I agree to a degree. Porsha tells her that Dennis was her storyline, and this prompts Andy to ask Drew why did she decide to film with Dennis. She tells him that she was in the process of making music, and that Dennis offered to help her make music. She also tells him that the two of them never said anything negative about Porsha while they were filming and while they were in a session. And then next thing you know, Cynthia decides to jump in and attempt to chastise Drew, and I was just like, Cynthia, please shut the fuck up and stay out of this. Shamia then attempts to jump in on Portia's behalf, and this results in Drew telling her to go sit on Portia's lap. And then the next thing you know, Shamia and Porsha actually get into it, and I was just like, see, Shamia, this is why you need to stay out of Portia's shit. Andy asks Porsha if she's willing to apologize to Drew, and you know that Porsha actually apologized to Drew for meeting with Ralph, and I was proud of her. I was like, you know what? That's growth. After this, Porsha tells Andy that Kelly, Britt, and Shamia created an alliance at the beginning of the season. Shamia chimes in and tells Andy that yes, they did create an alliance, but that Porsha was a part of that alliance, in which Porsha denies it. We then pivot to Kelly and Britt's friendship, and Kelly reveals that her stylist was the one who provided misinformation to Britt about having an abortion. I was just like, Porsha and Kelly then have a small back and forth about Kelly's husband and the fact that she believes that Kelly was just putting on for the cameras and that her husband was not doing anything wrong to her. And I was just like, Porsha, wait a minute. You want us to believe everything you said about Cordell Simon, right? Don't do that to Kelly. After this, Angela and Phaedra get into it about the guy that showed up at the event, and Angela brings out a folder that has pictures of the guy's aunt and Phaedra's brother and tells everyone that they went to school together. Phaedra does not understand why Angela believes that she had anything to do with it. Angela tells her that she did it to secure a spot on the show, in which Phaedra tells her that she has a guaranteed contract with the network, and I was like, okay, score one for Phaedra. Angela then pivots and asks Porsha why would she think that she would set it up herself, and then the two of them, they have a small back and forth that will continue next week. And that was the end of the episode. I do want to thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you could, please like, comment, share, subscribe. That would be great. You have a great rest of your day. Bye.